Welcome to another startup and complete car documentation. What we're looking at today is a 2022 Nissan Frontier SV Crew Cab.
This Frontier is painted in glacier white.
On the key fob, you got the buttons for lock, unlock, and panic. Front door panels have storage areas, the bottle holders, and of course you got your power windows, locks, and mirrors.
It has a charcoal interior with premium cloth seat upholstery.
Has a fully powered driver's seat. And now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start the engine. It does have push button start.
The Frontier is Nissan's entry in the midsize pickup truck segment, competing with rivals like the Toyota Tacoma and Chevy Colorado. The Frontier made its debut in 1997 to replace the old Nissan hardbody trucks. As of 2022, the Frontier in North America has just entered its third generation. So the first two generations of Frontier were also branded as the Nissan Navara in many international markets. Eventually, for 2014, the Navara entered a third generation internationally, and in some of those markets was called the Frontier. However, the US and Canada never received that initial third-gen Navara and Frontier. Instead, Nissan continued to sell the old second-generation Frontier in said markets, all the way up until model year 2021. That means domestically, the Frontier was largely identical for 17 model years. Granted, it did receive a new engine and transmission for 2020. But for 2022, the US and Canada finally received a brand new third-generation Frontier of their own. This truck, however, is not based on the other third-generation Navara and Frontier sold elsewhere. Basically, this means there are two separate third-generation Frontiers. One for international markets that's been around since 2014, also known as the third-gen Nissan Navara, and the new standalone North American third-gen Frontier that came out for 2022. As for the North American third-gen Frontier, is codenamed D41, and was designed specifically for the domestic market. While some parts of the chassis architecture are carried over from the old 05 to 21 second-gen Frontier, the new North American third-gen Frontier is just about all new. And boy, does it look and feel much more fresh, refined, and competitive compared to its predecessor. In fact, I personally think it's now the best-looking truck in its class. Then again, that is what you'd expect when this is the Frontier's first redesign domestically since 2005. The 2022 US market Nissan Frontier comes in two body styles, which are the King Cab, or Extended Cab, and the Crew Cab. And Crew Cab models can be had with either a 5-foot or a 6-foot bed. The one in this video has the 5-foot bed. Trim levels for 2022 include S, SV, Pro X, and the range-topping Pro 4X. The 2022 Frontier has one sole engine, that being a 3.8-liter V6 with an impressive upwards of 300 horsepower. The standard transmission is a 9-speed automatic, and you can of course choose between rear-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. In Nissan's 2022 pickup truck lineup in the US, the midsize Frontier is slotted below the full-size half-ton Titan.
In the instrument cluster, you have 4 analog gauges, your tachometer, speedometer, fuel gauge, and temperature gauge. And then there's also a pretty large digital info display, which can be controlled via these buttons on the steering wheel. It has a 4-spoke design, multifunctional steering wheel. There are sport grips at 10 and 2, and comfort grips all around the rest of the rim. As for controls, on this side you have your cruise control, then on this side you have your audio controls and info display controls. The steering wheel is tilt only. The parking brake is foot operated. You have your traction control toggle. You can turn on or off your cargo lamp and hill descent control. Your tow mode, panel dim, trip reset, climate vent for the driver. Right here is your exterior lighting stock. And on this side is your wiper stock. Going down the center stack, you have a little bit of a storage tray up top, your central climate vents on either side, your large touchscreen infotainment system, got also some physical radio controls and shortcuts for the system, we'll go over that in a bit, hazard switch, passenger airbag indicator, your push button ignition, your 4-wheel drive dials right here, got a 12-volt power outlet, got all the controls for your single zone climate control. You have a USB and a USB-C port, some storage, 2 cup holders next to the shifter, and then a little bit of storage behind it. Putting it in reverse does reveal a backup camera, of course. Center console with some storage and another 12-volt socket. The glove box is lockable. Grab handle in the A pillar, and B pillars. Both sun visors do have vanity mirrors. Overhead lighting. Grab handle for the front passenger and rear passengers. And right here we have the infotainment system. So this is the home screen right now, and you can customize that. So if you don't want the clock here, you can move, say, your audio right here. Like so. Then you go back and there it's customized. Phone for any connections you might have. Your audio screen, quite a few different sources. You have AM, FM, Sirius XM, Bluetooth audio streaming, and of course the USB ports, Apple CarPlay, whatnot. Any other connections you might have. And then finally settings. All of your, settings, customizations, all that kind of stuff. But now we'll go ahead and roll down the driver's window and take a look at the engine bay. The driver's window is fully automatic.
The SV trim adds these rugged-looking 17-inch 6-split-spoke alloy rims. Under the hood of the 2022 Frontier is Nissan's VQ38DD 3.8-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine. It's a dual overhead cam, 24-valve power plant with variable valve timing and direct injection. It produces 310 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and 281 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. That power is transmitted through a 9-speed automatic transmission with a manual mode, and this Frontier is equipped with 4-wheel drive. Running on regular unleaded with a 21-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates for 4-wheel drive Frontiers are 17 mpg in the city and 22 mpg on the highway. It has a double wishbone independent front suspension and a solid rear axle with leaf springs. The truck is brought to a stop via 4-wheel ventilated disc brakes. Maximum payload and towing capacities for the 22 Frontier are 1,610 pounds and 6,670 pounds respectively. Keep in mind though that those exact numbers might not apply to the truck in this video. Depending on equipment, the Frontier can weigh between around 4,300 and 4,700 pounds.
As you saw earlier, the fuel cap is on the driver's side. Storage areas with bottle holders on the back door panels as well. You can fold up the back seat bases. Both front seats have little mat pockets on the backs of them. Coat hooks. Nice sturdy grab handles. Rear passengers also get a USB and a USB-C port. And there's also a folding center armrest with 2 cup holders. And space back here, as someone who's about 6'1", is actually really not that good. With the front seat as far back as I have it, which is probably where I'd have it if I was driving, which to be fair is further back than a lot of other people would have it. There's my legroom compared to that seat, which is a little bit further forward. Now I'm sitting behind the front passenger seat, which is ever so slightly up further forward than the driver's, and legroom is way better here, so little bit cramped still, but definitely this is something I could probably ride in, especially if the seat was reclined just a little bit less far back as this. But keep in mind, this is just a mid-sized pickup truck, not as big as, like, you know, a full-size half-ton like a Titan would be or anything like that. Single exhaust.
This Frontier crew cab comes with a standard 5-foot bed.
Anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2022 Nissan Frontier. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.